Marcus and Max pulled up into their client's driveway. "So, what's the case?" Max, Marcus's assistant, asked. They were both paranormal investigators, but Max was still in training, while Marcus had over 15 years of experience. "A woman named Maria, saying that something is living in her house and affecting her sleep," Marcus explained. "Her sleep? That doesn't sound too serious." "We'll see." The two men headed towards the doorway of the large, countryside home with an immaculate lawn and perfectly lined hedges surrounding the driveway. A woman opened the door as they approached, an older woman who was quite beautiful, but clearly in distress. Her long, straight black hair was tangled in a mess, making it almost seem curly, and her eyes had bags on top of bags on top of bags. "How's your sleep been?" Marcus joked, and surprisingly, the woman smiled. Even in her fatigue, she still had a sense of humor. "Just fine. Can't you tell by how great I look?" Maria responded with a slight chuckle. Max was surprised by her energetic nature despite her contradictory appearance. Maria led them into the house, a grand, mainly wooden house with no carpets besides a small welcome mat. "You can keep your shoes on, I'll just clean it later," Maria said, and Max was surprised she'd still have the energy to clean it. "Such a grand place," Max commented, amazed by the grand staircase and the massive chandelier hanging on the ceiling. Every inch of the floorboard was professionally polished, and luxury paintings lined the walls, some of them portraits, some abstract. Maria caught Max looking at a particular painting. "An interesting one, isn't it?" Maria questioned. "Interesting indeed," Max commented, staring at a piece of a Sunnyside hill with a strange figure in the background, a figure that seemed to be staring straight at you, despite having non-visible eyes. "This way, please." Maria led them down the upstairs hallway and towards a room. "My bedroom." Marcus and Max entered the room, a beautifully decorated and well-lit room that contained absolutely no ominous energy. "So this is it?" Marcus said. "Yes, this is the source of all my difficulties," Maria began. "I've lived in this house for years, but after my mother's passing, I sort of got stuck in a hole." "A hole?" Max asked, but Marcus glanced at him to let him know to shut up. "Yes, I mean to say, I got pretty depressed, to put it blankly. It felt as if there was a massive hole in my chest, a hole full of pain and grief and despair. This hole has since healed, at least somewhat, but I believe something took notice of it and grew intrigued." Marcus began to walk around the woman's room, inspecting her cabinets and various lamps, even sniffing the air, searching for something. The woman continued. "It started off with strange dreams. Dreams of me lying, sleeping in my bed, yet unable to move. I heard of sleep paralysis before, but I do not think this was it. It wasn't sleep paralysis because I knew it was a dream. I was dreaming of watching myself dream, if that makes sense. But as I watched myself sleep, I could feel something else present, something terrible. Sometimes I could glimpse a shadowy beast roaming around my bed and paying awfully close attention to my head, roaming around my bed as if curious in me." Maria chuckled. "Then it would reach out a large, cloudy hand, more like a claw, and poke at my sleep." That caught Marcus's attention. "What do you mean by poking your sleep?" Marcus inquired, while ruffling her bed sheets. "I honestly have no damn idea." She laughed, a long, genuine laugh, as if amused by the absurdity. "I felt it, messing with my sleep, like there was a bubble above my sleeping head and it was probing it, disturbing it, and then I'd wake up." "Continue," Marcus said, and she listened. "Well, after that went on for a while, it became harder and harder for me to sleep. At first, I'd fall asleep fine, have the dream when it was nearing morning, and then wake up. That was fine because I'd still get most of my sleep in. But then, the dream would come earlier and earlier, until soon enough, right when I'd fall asleep, I'd be woken up only after resting for about an hour. And once awake, I could not fall back asleep, no matter how hard or how long I tried. Now I am completely unable to sleep long in this room." "What do you mean in this room?" Max interrupted, but this time there was no glance. "Well, I guess the creature, whatever it is, is mainly confined to this room. When I slept in our guest room, I'd have less trouble, or all the way downstairs, it would be pretty easy. Is that not a solution? Max interrupted again, this time with another glance from Marcus. Partially, yes. Well, at least it was at first. There are two problems with that though, Maria explained. One, Maria lifted a finger up as demonstration to the boy. I shouldn't be forced out of my room in my own house by anybody, spirit or demon or whatnot. I will not back down. Two, the thing had less of a hold on me in the other rooms, but it was still a problem. It couldn't probe my dreams like it used to, at least not as strongly, but I started hearing noises right as I was about to drift off, whispers, bangs, or whistles to jolt me back awake, all coming from my room. I see, Max said, looking towards the floor. So tell me, detective, Maria stared at Marcus, who was now looking under her bed. Do you sense anything, and can you help me? Marcus rose slowly from the floor, looking at Maria with a devious smile, and said, There's absolutely nothing in here. Maria's confident gaze faltered for a moment, and confusion filled the woman's face. What do you mean? Her voice was shaky. I cannot sense or feel anything paranormal here, Marcus stated matter-of-factly. And my buddy here, Max, he's even more sensitive than me with that stuff. Maria spun around to look at the much younger boy. So? She questioned him, and Max closed his eyes, focusing his mind and spirit on everything around him, on everything in this room. But Marcus was right. There's nothing in here, Max said. Maria looked distressed. So is paranoia the whole time. Her voice seemed almost sad. Not necessarily, Marcus said, and Maria looked up at him, hopeful. Some of these things have restrictions with time. Restrictions with time? Maria questioned. Walking towards the mirror, Marcus answered. Yes, some entities can only appear or have a hold in our world during specific times, especially weaker ones that feed only on sleep. So us sensing nothing now might be because there's literally nothing here. But there will be tonight. Marcus ran his fingers down the ovular, full-length mirror beside Maria's king-size bed. I predict that this thing comes out around 11 p.m. to make you unable to sleep and stays around until early morning before returning to whatever place it came from. So what can I do? Maria asked. I mean, creatures like this get tired eventually. If you push yourself harder to sleep, or sleep somewhere else for a while, and fix your sleep schedule and stress, it will probably leave you alone. But I also think I can get rid of it. Please, Maria begged him, and Marcus grinned. Now we just have to wait for tonight. Now you just lay here and try to sleep, Marcus told Maria, placing a sleeping mask over her eyes. And whatever you do, don't look. Just lay there and pretend to sleep until I give you a sign. Maria nodded, laying on her bed. You're the bait, okay? So even if you hear the thing, or screaming, just lay there until it's all over. Will I be safe? Maria questioned. You should be, Marcus answered. She may have been unsatisfied, but she trusted the detective. Whatever will make this stop, Maria thought, lying down and clearing her mind for sleep. Max watched Marcus spread some sort of salt in a circle around Maria's bed. Then he spread some to block the bedroom door. And what is it that you want me to do? Max asked as Marcus handed him the salt bag. Stay hidden in that closet, and when the thing comes out, spread some salt around the mirror. It'll act as a barrier to prevent the creature from escaping. How do you know it will come out the mirror? Max asked, unable to sense anything. I can only hope, Marcus grinned. Marcus stood outside the bedroom door like an officer ready to barge in, and Max stayed hidden in the closet, waiting for the thing to appear. They waited and waited and waited. Max had no watch, but yawned as it began to turn past 10, then 11, and now around midnight. But that is when something began to happen. Max's eyes widened as a cloudy figure of an arm began to extend out of the mirror. Max held in his gasp as a long, muscular arm that ended in sharp claws reached further and further out. until finally it reached the bedroom floor. The arm was followed by another, and then the shoulder, and finally the creature's face began to emerge. It was hard to make out the creature. Max could only see the shadowy figure of what it was supposed to be, not any details, and even then, the creature seemed to emit a strange, black fog, making it even less visible. However, the large, yellow eyes of the beast were unmistakable. Even though not very visible, the beast was terrifying. Max's heart felt like bursting, as if witnessing the approach of some sort of apex predator. Yes, that is what he felt. He felt like he was prey hiding in the bushes from a jaguar. The creature slightly resembled a jaguar too, only if a jaguar was much too strong and large, with a slightly human-like shape and head. The beast began to circle Maria as she slept, and Max even noticed the woman slightly stir, as if being disturbed in her sleep. With every step of the creature, Maria shuddered slightly or let out a slight groan, and that is when the creature slowly lifted up a hand. Max's sign to act. Max creeped out of the closet and, in terror, began to pour salt around the mirror. As he did, the creature lifted a paw closer and closer towards Maria's head. That is when a sudden flash of light stunned them all, a flash that stopped the creature from reaching any further. The light that was the invisible barrier around the woman, the barrier created by the salt. The creature leapt backwards, its eyes turning to look at Max. Rage filled its intense yellow eyes, a rage that was directed at Max. And then, the creature charged at him. "Over here!" Marcus screamed, jumping into the room, and Max rose quickly to sprint towards him. But the creature was far too fast. It reached Max, letting out a roar as it dove for him. And as it did, the boy reached out for Marcus's hand. Marcus reached Max first, grabbing Max around the wrist and pulling him with a strength Max had never felt before, pulling him and throwing him out of the bedroom. "Marcus!" Max screamed as the creature pounced on the detective instead. But that is when Max saw Marcus's familiar grin. "Don't worry, lad," Marcus yelled at him with a chuckle. "Creatures like this are typically far too weak to cause any direct physical harm." And he was right. The beast pounced right through his body with almost no feeling. Marcus felt as if a heavy fog had passed through his body, but nothing more. He laughed. That's why it relies on feeding on Maria's sleep. It's the only thing it's strong enough to do. Maria sat up in her bed, removing her sleeping mask. She looked at the sight of some wild beast trying to harm the detective, but being completely unable to do so, and felt a little amused. To think a creature as pathetic as that had caused her so much trouble. It looked like a kitten trying to seem fierce to its owner. Marcus hardly noticed it at all. Marcus reached his hand out to her with a wink, and Maria let out a small chuckle. "Why, thank you," she said as he helped her out of her bed, and the creature attacked and attacked unsuccessfully as they calmly exited the bedroom and closed the door. "So now what?" Marcus asked as they sat around her dining room table, Maria loading pancakes on all their plates. "We didn't even exercise the spirit." Maria placed another pancake on Marcus's plate, and Marcus smiled up at her. "Thank you, ma'am," he said. "And as for your question, we blocked off the creature's exit from this world, so we'll dissolve by the afternoon." Max looked confused. "I told you, didn't I?" Marcus said. "How it can only have a hold in our world temporarily. With no way out, its energy will diminish and it will be gone for good." Max somewhat understood. "Don't speak with your mouth full," Maria scolded Marcus, sitting to join them for breakfast. There was already one less bag under her eye.